Hey, this is Fred Johnson at Oshkosh, Wisconsin for EAA AirVenture 2022. Take a look at the KC-135R behind me. Let's talk with the crew and see what they do.
Hi, my name is Captain Lindy Ilich and I'm a KC-135R Stratotanker instructor pilot, and this is the mighty KC-135. Our primary mission on this aircraft is refueling other airplanes. So we're basically a gas station in the air. We can fly all over the world. As long as we have 7,000 feet, we can pretty much land anywhere. We refuel fighters, bombers, cargo airplanes. We also carry passengers. We can do aeromedical evacuation missions, and we can carry cargo. This is our KC-135 that was built in 1961. So it's an older aircraft, but it's been completely updated and remodeled with newer avionics. All the lights are turned off right now, but when it's on, it's pretty impressive. This is where our engine stacks normally are. We have a regular autopilot, but we do not have auto throttles. Our main mission is giving gas to other airplanes. So right here is our entire fuel panel. We have a crew of 3 people. We have 2 pilots and 1 boom operator. When we're giving gas, we're flying up here and the boom operator goes into the back, and whoever's not flying is managing the fuel panel right here. We can carry a max of 200,000 pounds of gas, which is impressive when the aircraft is only 125,000 pounds. We burn approximately 10,000 pounds of gas an hour. And when we're refueling with all 4 pumps on, we can offload 6,000 pounds of gas a minute. When we're refueling other airplanes, it all depends on what we're refueling. When we're refueling fighters, we can't really fuel too much, but when we're refueling C-17s, C-5s, it's a very much bigger airplane that's coming up below us, so it's a lot of adjusting the aircraft, adjusting our CG, depending on how much gas we're giving. For example, a F-16, we usually only give a couple thousand pounds at a time, but with the C-17 or a KC-10, we can give up to 65 or 70,000 pounds of gas in one refueling. So it's a lot of management on the fuel panel, making sure that CG is in the same area that we want it, like kind of like in the seat spot. It's a pretty easy airplane to fly, but they do say it's the 2nd hardest airplane to land in the Air Force, behind the U-2. Our inboard engines are only 18 inches above the ground, so it can make it a little difficult. We don't have auto throttles, we're not that advanced, so we have to definitely making sure our cross-check is constantly moving. No refueling is the same. For example, flying a C-130, we go up to 210, 220 on the speed, but when we're flying with an F-16, we can go up to 315. So it really depends on the aircraft, the altitude, and how much gas we're giving. So you're constantly studying, you're constantly working the airplane. But other than that, it's a great airplane to fly. It's been around since 1960s and it's still flying. We expect it to be around for the next 20 to 30 years. So it's pretty incredible. So our takeoff considerations can change depending on how heavy we are or how long the runway is, if the runway is wet, if it's cold or hot outside. We're used to heavy fuel loads, especially when we're deployed in the Middle East or if we're over in the Pacific. When we're heavy, our S1 or B1, whichever, if you're on the airlines or the military, can be a big split from our rotate when we're heavy. So it just depends. Our climb out capability is pretty impressive. Our engines are stronger than we need to. We just have to do the normal told, making sure that there's no trees or towers out there or anything like that. But it can climb pretty well, especially in the winter when it's colder. When we're deployed, especially out of Afghanistan, there's a lot of mountains. So during the winter, we have heavier fuel weights versus the summer. The airplane tends to be a little bit of a hog on the climb out, but typically it's pretty impressive. We usually don't take off that heavy. They're very fuel conscious, so they like to fuel plan with how much gas we're going to need, how much gas we're going to burn, and still land with the minimum amount just to save money. They've been flying this airplane for a very long time, since the 60s, and it's probably going to fly for another 20 to 30 years, so it's absolutely an incredible airplane to fly. It's an amazing airplane that I'm sure I'm happy to be a part of.
Technical Sergeant Luke Ellis with the Wisconsin Air National Guard out of the 128th Air Refueling Wing in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we're in the boom pod here in the KC-135. Back here is where myself, as the boom operator, refuels aircraft in flight, extending global reach and air combat capability. Shortly before refueling, I'll come back here, start my prep for air refueling checklist. Here, there's a boom sighting window that's closed right now, but before refueling, that door will come up, and this glass here is the only thing between myself and the clear air outside. At times, it's important to make sure that you aggressively inform the receiver to slow their rate of closure due to their bow wave effect on the KC-135 autopilot. So a larger receiver like a C5 or a C17, it's important that I'm aggressive in the call-outs and say things like slow your rate of closure. At approximately a half nautical mile, the pilots will actually give me the radios back here, and I conduct all of our operations and communications through the boom pod. And I will clear the receiver into contact via the radio. There are times with operational necessity that I cannot transmit over the radio, in which case I'll use pilot director lights as a visual cue to clear the receiver to contact. Here we have the boom hoist lever, which allows the boom operator, myself, to raise or lower the boom prior to and after air refueling. Here we have the boom telescope lever, which allows me to extend and retract the boom to make contact or to clear the aircraft after disconnect.